Let's get on to the predicted lineup. Ange has been speaking in the press conference. What have we got for injury news?
So, not great news on Heung-min Son. He said he hasn't trained and he's still not 100% fit, so unlikely to play on Sunday, which is quite similar to what we heard when he was injured last time. He sounded like he was down and unlike, and all of a sudden he was out until the international break. So I really hope it's not the same here. He said it's nothing serious, but he also said that last time, and it didn't turn out to be serious, but turned out to maybe be a bit worse than he thought. So let's hope Sonny's okay, but he's probably out for Sunday. Apart from that, clean bill of health, pretty much. Obviously, Depay came back last game, played a few minutes with Charleston, started. He said Mikey Moore is ready to start, but the only issue he has is potentially physically. That's the only thing he's worried about. So if he's physically ready to start, he's ready to start. But yeah, apart from that, seems to be all right. Bergval, he was seen coming off in the game against RZ. He looked like he was struggling with something, but Ange said it was only cramp. It wasn't anything more than that. Spence, actually, he mentioned him. He said he should be back next week, but he's not going to be fit for the weekend. So we're in a decent position, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly with the games coming thick and fast now. Before the international break, we've got so many games and big games as well. So it's great to have all those players coming back. In goal, in a 4-3-3, we are going for our new player coach, Vicario.
Yeah, assistant manager Vicario. He selected himself, I think. But yeah, so look, obviously Forster played in midweek. We know that Vicarios are going to play every Premier League game. Interesting that he was rested on Thursday, but yeah, he's going to have a big part to play in this one. So big Vic in goal.
Right back, it's no surprise who we're going to pick is Pedro Porro. Got a rest completely last night, didn't come on at all, so he should be firing on the weekend.
Yeah, really good for him to get a rest. I thought Archie Gray came in and did all right, but obviously we know what Porro provides in that position. Probably up against the likes of Mitchell or Eze on that side. So it's going to be really difficult to kind of combat. It's going to be interesting to see who picks up Eze, because you can have potentially Mitchell on that left-hand side. You can have Eze picking up that little pocket of space. You're going to have Basuma thinking about the two defensive midfielders they got. You got Romero thinking about Mateta. So that's, who picks up Eze? That's the question.
Mateta might not even play, I reckon.
Or Nketiah.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to have Romero looking at him. So it's going to be, that's something Andrew's got to figure out. I'm a bit worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way. You've got to figure out how to deal with Eze. I think if you could deal with Eze, I think we get through this game.
Okay, we'll go into it next.
Right centre-back, obviously, Kuti Romero, another one who was fully rested in midweek against AZ Alkmaar, and let's hope he's back to his best.
Yeah, and that was really great for him to get a rest. The fact that we were able to put Dragoshin and Davis in there and keep a clean sheet is really positive. Hopefully we can do that more going forward. But yeah, Romero's going to be need to be on his A game to make sure whoever's playing up front, he's just dominating them, because whether it's Nketiah's pace or Mateta's physicality, he's got a difficult job on his hands.
Left centre-back, Mickey van der Ven. We all thought he was going to start once we saw him in the press conference pre-AZ Alkmaar, but another one who's been completely rested and do his hamstrings the world of good. Yeah,
good to keep him fresh. Obviously on that side, potentially Ismaili Assar having playing on that side, and he's got serious pace and he can run in behind on that right-hand side. So I'm a bit worried about him, and obviously they do look to passes over the top to the likes of Mateta and Nketiah, so hopefully we can deal with that. But hopefully Van der Ven is well rested after Thursday.
And then the last of the back four at left back will be Destiny Udogie, the only one out of the players that we've mentioned so far that played any part in the game yesterday.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if there's going to be some sort of pre-planned sub for him, or whether maybe even he does. Or actually, I was going to say consider Spence, but he can't consider Spence because Spence is injured. So the only one you can replay is Davis. I don't think he'll play him there. So maybe Udogie will have to play
Gray.
The 90 minutes. He could play Gray there, but again, he played. So that doesn't really help with the...
Well, it helps if Udogie plays like 65, 70 minutes and Gray comes on for the final 20.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think that's one to keep an eye on, because we saw against Man United... I think he played the Thursday before that Man United game against Karabag.
Yeah, he came off, didn't he? No, he came on when Udogie got sent off, when Dragoshin got sent off.
Yeah, so he came on and pretty much played 90 minutes, and then he was struggling against United, wasn't he? He had to be taken off at half time.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. And obviously the way Palace play, again, because they got wing backs and very narrow inside forwards, it's a very interesting situation. Who do the fullbacks go to? Do they go up to the wing backs, or are they going to go to the inside forwards? It's something for Ange to really ponder.
So that's the back four. Moving into the number 6 position, Bentancur got the shirt in Europa League and put in a good performance, but we are siding with Yves Basuma, another one who's been fully rested.
Yeah, so hopefully he's fresher. The likes of Lerma playing in midfield for Palace and maybe Will Hughes. I think Wharton actually might be injured, looking at other things, so maybe he might not be playing. But I think Basuma's got a big job because, as I say, they've got 2 very narrow inside forwards, so he's going to have to drop back and monitor that situation very carefully because, well, if he's not careful, we could very easily start to get outnumbered in that situation. So I think Basuma's got a very important role to play here.
Moving into the attacking players, Dijk going to be the first midfielder, 10 or 8, whichever way you want to call it, but did play around 15 minutes last night, which shouldn't really affect his performance coming into the weekend.
Yeah, so he's obviously our most informed player at the moment. He looked so great last week against West Ham. He's just, so hard to stop, and I think he's going to be a very important player in this game, the way he picks up the ball in those little pockets of spaces. So yeah, he has to start. And
then to make up that midfield 3, it's a toss-up between Sarr and Madison. Obviously, Madison came off at half-time in the game against West Ham last weekend. He started last night, captain's armband on, putting a really good display. But we are going to side with Madison for that top performance yesterday. But I wouldn't be totally surprised if Sarr does start the game.
Yeah, I think I've changed my mind. I actually do think it's going to be Sarr. I think it should be Sarr because I think the way Palace is set up, we need a double pivot in this game. Otherwise, you risk those Eze and whoever they're going to play, Kamada or Sarr, just getting too much space and too much joy. And if they get the ball to him very quickly, all of a sudden we could be in trouble. And as much as what Madison brings to us, first of all, he played 75 minutes on Thursday. So how fresh is he going to be? Is he going to be fresh enough to, be that intense that he needs to be? And as well, even if he is intense, does he have that defensive awareness to drop back next to Basuma, to make sure that Eze is not getting on the ball enough, and as Medisar as well. I feel like we might need Sarr in this game, actually, to combat that. But on the flip side, if it is Madison, that link up with Deki, if we do dominate possession, which I assume we will, and we're trying to break down Palace, that's only going to make it more likely that we do, and it's going to add that quality in the final third. So, yeah, I think what Madison will bring could be important, but I actually think what Sarr would bring in this game could be more important.
Good headaches to have, eh?
Yeah, true.
On the right-hand side of the attack, Brennan Johnson, the man in form, didn't put in his best display when he came on last night. Maybe he should go back off social media, but no, I think he gave us good balance to the front line, to the forward line when he did come on, and let's hope he can get his scoring boots back on.
Yeah, and obviously they play, as I say, a wing-back system. So I think what he did brilliantly against Brentford was finding that space in between the wing-back and the wide centre-back and exploiting it. And that's what he needs to do in this game. Might be up against Mark Guehi on left centre-back and Mitchell at left wing-back. And if it turns more into a back 5 than a midfield 5, his space could start getting restricted and it could be difficult for him. So finding that space is absolutely crucial. But he's still a man in confident form, so let's see how he does.
Up front will be big Dom Solanke. Obviously, Richarlison back in the fold last weekend, which gives us in midweek yesterday, which gives us a really good option to have off the bench if we need something extra going into the final 20 minutes, half an hour. But big Dom Solanke's been brilliant all season. Have no doubt he's going to start.
Yeah, and he's got a really important role as well because they play a back 3 and a midfield pivot, a midfield 2. It's going to be really important for him to drop into those spaces like he does. I think dropping into that space in front of the back 3 and behind the midfield 2, dropping into that little pocket where it kind of draws out one of the centre-backs, or either it does that or they're going to be outnumbered in the middle because we've got 3 in the middle, they've got 2. So that's really, really important role. And because he's so good at hold-up and keeping the ball, he's going to have a very important role to play, I think, in that. And we saw him how important he was against Brentford. So, yeah, Solanke's going to have his work out for him.
And then on the left-hand side, this is the question that everyone is asking at the moment. Who is going to fill in for Sonny? Well, on the left-hand side, we have gone For the main man, Mr. Mikey Moore, 17 years of age. We're predicting for him to get his first start in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur after the brilliant display he did have. There is a chance that it could be Odebear. There is a chance that it could be back to Timo Werner as well. We don't know if Odebear is back to full fitness yet. We don't know if Mikey Moore is too fatigued after last night to play the game. And we know that that Timo Werner is becoming a bit unfavoured at Tottenham. So it really is a toss-up to see who plays on this left-hand side. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't Moore, but we are siding on Moore.
Yeah, I think it's a good excuse to play him. Odebear's not 100% fit. Werner's very low on confidence. Son is obviously out. So I think Moore is probably the best option considering how well he played on Thursday as well. Obviously, things to consider on that side. You've got Lacroix, who's a very physical, big centre-back. Do you really want to put Moore up against him? That is a genuine question you do need to ask. But I also think the way Palace play, the Moore's attributes could be very, very beneficial here if he can get some space on their left-hand side. So I think it's a good excuse to throw Moore in there, see if he sinks or swims on this occasion, and see how he does. So I think we're siding with Moore here.
All right, so let's run through that lineup with you guys one more time. This is the predicted lineup to face Palace away on Sunday, 2 o'clock kickoff at Selhurst Park. It's Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Udogie left back, Romero and Van der Ven as the centre-back pairing, Basuma, Kulusevski and Madison. And in the front line, Johnson on the right, Mikey Moore on the left, and big Dom Solanke up top. Predictions going into it, Sim has gone for 2-1 to Spurs. I've gone for 3-1 to Spurs. But yeah, it's going to be an action-packed weekend. I'm very much looking forward to it. Me and Sim taking a long trip to South London